We've had every type of US president. We've had bad presidents that were bad people. There were good people who were bad presidents. And there were good people who were good at being president, as well as the elusive bad person who was a good president. A good example of a good person who was a bad president was Jimmy Carter. But I think another great example is Herbert Hoover. Almost everyone agrees that Herbert Hoover was a bad president, right? He was the president when the Great Depression started, as well as the Great Depression continued on through the rest of his presidency, going on for an additional amount of time. One of the problems is he really believed in the American spirit, the individualism that encapsulated America. Now, this wasn't a new thing. Many presidents of that era and all previous presidents did not do a whole lot to change the economy if something really bad happened, like a depression. And so it's not that surprising that he couldn't really rise to the occasion and adjust things until his successor comes in, FDR, and does quite a lot. Now, a lot of the things that FDR did actually ended up extending the Great Depression by about 10 years. But I digress. Herbert Hoover was actually a good person. Hoover actually believed in philanthropy and humanitarian causes quite a bit. Before the involvement of the United States in World War I and into the involvement of the United States in World War I and afterwards, he was in charge of making sure that the people of Belgium, as well as other affected areas, had enough food. And so he was like the food czar, the food dictator, I think is what they called him, for making sure that the people there had enough food. And he was doing all of this amazing work there. Similarly, he was really into women's suffrage. He had a very equal marriage, especially for the time period. Both him and his wife went to Stanford and became geologists and engineers and worked together. And contrary to most people of the time period, he was not racist. He was actually quite progressive in terms of race politics of the time, especially when you consider some of the other people like Woodrow Wilson, who was full on terrible. And so just like Jimmy Carter, I would say Herbert Hoover was a good person who was just a really bad president.